Hi, good morning. Good morning. Yan. Good morning. Yan, sige, okay. So, sino pwede kong gawing co-host ulit para tumanggap or mag-accept ng mga participants na nagjo-join dun sa ating meeting? Sino pa pwede? Sino ba yung... Yan, andyan si Mr. Morcoso. Mr. Morcoso, good morning.
Yes po, sir.
Pwede?
Okay lang po.
Sige, wait lang ha. Ayan. You are now a co-host, Mr. Morcoso. So, trabaho ni Mr. Morcoso, i-accept lahat ng magjo-join dun sa ating meeting. Okay, Mr. Morcoso, do me a favor ha. Thank you. Okay, sige. So, kamusta kayo? Kamusta ang araw ninyo today? Do you have class yesterday? Wala din, ano? Okay, so tawag dito. For today, medyo nagbago tayo ng strategy. Chapter number 10 muna tayo since we are online now. So, hindi ako pwedeng mag-discuss ng mga heavy topics kasi mahirap i-explain. Baka hindi nyo maintindihan. So, pumili lang ako ng topics na medyo lighter. Okay, so this is inventory. So, chapter number 10. So, again, turn your book on page 228. If you have questions, just open your microphone, raise your hand, your virtual hand, and then ask your question. Okay, and then I'm more than willing to entertain and answer all those queries. Okay, sige. So let's start our discussion for this morning. So chapter number 10, page 228, inventories. So inventories are assets held for sale in the ordinary course of business, in the process of production for such sale, or in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. Okay? So inventories encompass goods purchased and held for resale. For example, merchandise purchased by a retailer and held for resale. So this is a finished goods inventory already. Letter B, land and other properties held for resale by a subdivision entity and the real estate developer. So although it is land, it is part of their inventory since the nature of this business, of their business, their operation, is to sell this land with a house. Okay? Ayun. So inventories are broadly classified into two, namely inventories of a trading concern and inventories of a manufacturing concern. So pag sinabi nating trading concern, from the word itself, trading, so the nature of the business of a trading entity is to buy and to sell. Diba? So bibili sila ng inventory and then after that, they will sell it at a margin or for a margin or for a profit. So ang tawag sa inventory ng isang trading concern ay merchandise inventory. So ito yung mga negosyong typically buy and sell. Okay, financial accounting considers the general issue of costing inventory but limits its consideration to merchandise inventory or inventory purchased for resale. Okay? Now, how about a manufacturing concern? So it's the one that buys goods which are altered or converted into another form before they are made available for sale. So pag manufacturing, ginagawa pa yung finished product. So bumibili sila ng inventory and then yung inventory na yon is then converted into finished product before ibenta sa market. Okay? So sa manufacturing concern, there are four types of inventories, namely finished goods. So ito po yung completed and ready for sale. Goods in process o yung tinatawag nating work in process. So these are partially completed products which require further process or work before they can be sold. So ito yung pinag-aaralan ninyo na the work in process is 50% complete as to labor, yung mga ganyan, 30% complete as to materials, meaning hindi pa siya fully furnished, hindi pa siya finished product. And the next is raw materials. So these are goods that are to be used in the production process. So no work or process has been done on them as yet. So raw pa lang siya, raw material. Still, it is a finished, it is an inventory, but the classification is raw material. So gagawin pa lang siya. Hindi pa siya nasisimulan. Okay, and the last one is factory or manufacturing supplies are similar to raw materials, but their relationship to the end product is indirect. So pagka nga indirect materials, ang tatandaan nyo dito, you cannot easily identify, okay, you cannot easily identify these indirect materials to the finished product. So kunyari, gumawa ka ng kahoy, so sa paggawa ng kahoy, ang raw materials dyan, syempre yung kahoy mismo. So yung kahoy, kitang-kita mo on the finished product or the finished goods. Pero yung mga pako, yung mga pandikit, okay, na ginamit para maiayos mo yung kahoy, para maiayos mo yung lamesa o yung upuan na ginagawa mo, those are indirect materials. Okay, so hindi mo siya madaling makita. Pero it's still part of the product. Hindi magagawa yung product pag wala yung mga indirect materials na yun. Okay? Sige, goods includable in the inventory. So ano-ano daw ang mga isinasama sa cost ng inventory? The general rule is that all goods to which the entity has title shall be included in the inventory regardless of location. So ang key dito ay title. So dapat merong title yung company before they can consider the inventory as such. So regardless of its location. So kahit nasaan pa yung inventories na yan, kung yan ay in transit, kung yan ay consignment, kung yan ay nasa ibang warehouse, basta ang tanong, do you have title over that inventory? If the answer is yes, then you must include that in your inventory. Otherwise, kung wala kang title, ibig sabihin ng title, you are the legal owner. So kung wala kang title, you are not the legal owner, then do not include that in your inventory. Okay, so is the entity the owner of the goods to be inventoried? Owner, title. If the answer is an affirmative, the goods shall be included in the inventory. Pag sinabi natin affirmative, a yes. Okay, ibig sabihin a yes, without doubt. Okay, no doubt. If the answer is the negative, the goods shall be excluded from the inventory. So if the answer is no, then it should not be included in your inventory. Okay, so consigned goods. A consignment is a method of marketing goods in which the owner, called the consignor, transfers physical possession of certain goods to an agent called the consignee who sells them on the owner's behalf. So pag consignment, may dalawang party, consignor and consignee. So tatandaan mo, pag consignor, letter R yung dulo, that is similar to owner, which is letter R din yung dulo. So consignor, owner. Okay, yung consignee, yun yung pinagdalan. Okay, yun yung pinagdalan. Or in a layman's term, pag sinabing consigned goods, pinabebenta. Okay, ipinabebenta. Yan ang ibig sabihin yan. So, ipinabebenta nung may-ari, being the consignor, kay consignee. So, si consignee ang bahalang magbenta. So, kaninong inventory yon? So, again, you go back to the question. Who has the title? Who is the legal owner of the inventory? So pag merong ipinabebenta, syempre ang may-ari pa rin nun yung nagpapabenta. Tama, kung tayo yung company, pinabenta natin kay, sabihin na natin pinabenta natin kay ABC Company. So that is our inventory and not the inventory of ABC. Okay, on the other hand naman, if ABC owns an inventory at tayo yung consignee, ibig sabihin nasa warehouse natin, ipinapabenta sa atin ni ABC, that is not our inventory, but instead, that is an inventory of ABC Company. Okay? So, freight and other handling charges on goods out on consignment are part of the cost of goods consigned. So, yun daw mga nagagastos, yung delivery fee, yung shipping fee, para mapunta dun sa consignee, yung inventory, that is part of the cost of the goods consigned. Okay, so dinadagdag natin yan. Now, who is the owner of goods in transit? So pag sinabi natin goods in transit, hindi pa nakakarating sa atin yung goods o kaya naman hindi pa nakakarating dun sa customer natin. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabing in transit, naglalakbay pa. Okay, naglalakbay pa yung inventory. So the ownership of goods in transit depends on the terms. So is it FOB destination or FOB shipping point? FOB means free on board. Okay? So under FOB destination or FOB buyer, ownership of the goods purchased is transferred only upon receipt of the goods by the buyer at the point of destination. Okay, so pagka FOB destination, habang naglalakbay yan, okay, so the owner, the legal owner of that goods is the seller. So malilipat lang yung title kay buyer upon receipt of the goods. Say for example, tayo yung nagbenta. Okay, tayo yung company na nagbenta. So isinakay natin sa truck, i-deliver natin dun sa customer. So while in transit, it is our inventory. Kasi FOB destination ang term. So ibig sabihin, kapag nawala yan in transit, tayo ang mananagot kasi that is our inventory pa. Hindi pa yan natatransfer kay buyer. So matatransfer lang yan kay buyer kung nakarating na dun sa premises nila, kung nakarating na dun sa area niya at tinanggap na niya yung goods. Then in that case, the title of the goods will be transferred to the buyer. Okay? Next, how about FOB shipping point naman or FOB seller? Ownership is transferred upon shipment of the goods and therefore the goods in transit are the property of the buyer. So pag sinabi naman natin FOB shipping point, the mere fact na isinakay na natin sa truck yung inventory, i-deliver na natin kay customer. Pag ang terms niyan ay FOB shipping point or FOB seller, ang may-ari na nung inventory na yon ay si buyer na. So ang mananagot na kapag nawala yon o kapag nasira yon is the buyer and not the seller. Okay, so malinaw tayo doon ha, FOB destination and FOB shipping point. Now, freight terms. Freight collect means that the freight charge on the goods shipped is not yet paid. So the common carrier shall collect the same from the buyer. Thus, the freight charge is actually paid by the buyer if the term is freight collect. So pag sinabing freight collect, sinabi mo dun sa truck na magdi-deliver, freight collect ang terms niyan. So from the word itself, freight collect, kukolektahin nung truck, nung tracking company, nung logistics company, yung bayad dun sa shipping fee from the buyer. Okay? So ang buyer ang nagbabayad pagka freight collect. So how about freight prepaid naman? Means that the freight charge on the goods shipped is already paid by the seller. So pag sinabing freight prepaid, binayaran na in advance. So ang nagbayad in advance, syempre kung kanino nanggaling, kung saan nanggaling yung inventory, which is from the seller. So binayaran na agad siya ng seller. So nagkakatalo na lang dito yung terms ng shipping if that is FOB destination or FOB shipping point. So pag FOB destination, di ba? Pag FOB destination, who should pay for the freight? Di ba? Pag FOB destination, ang may-ari pa niyan ay seller. Dapat ang magbabayad ng shipping ay si seller din. So kapag FOB destination, freight prepaid, so ang nagbayad talaga doon ay si seller, there's no accounting issue. Si seller dapat magbayad dahil naka-freight prepaid siya, si seller naman ang nagbayad, so no issue about that. Nagkakaroon lang ng issue kung nagkalihis yung dalawa. So pag sinabi natin nagkalihis yung dalawa, FOB destination, seller should pay. Pero ang nangyari, ang naging terms ay freight collect. So sa halip na ang magbayad ay si seller, ang nagbayad ay si buyer. So ano magiging recourse, ano magiging option ni buyer doon? Dahil siya ang nagbayad ng freight, hindi naman siya dapat yung magbayad ng freight, ibabawas niya yon dun sa payable niya kay seller. Okay, so kung magkano man yung babayaran niya, babawasan niya yung ibinayad niyang freight kasi hindi naman siya dapat ang magbayad nun. Okay? Now, on the other hand naman, if the terms is FOB shipping point, so who should pay for the freight? Dapat buyer, di ba? Pag shipping point, buyer na yun. Habang in transit, si buyer na ang may-ari nun. So if the terms is freight collect, pag freight collect yan, so si buyer ang nagbayad, si buyer naman talaga dapat ang magbayad, so no accounting issue related to that. Nagkakaroon lang ng issue if the term is FOB shipping point, tapos ang term ay freight prepaid. Ang dapat magbayad si buyer, yun nga lang, binayaran na in advance nung seller. Bago pa paalisin dun sa company, binayaran na agad ni seller. Ang dapat magbayad si buyer dahil FOB shipping point. So what will be the option? What will be the recourse of the seller? So kung ako yung seller, kung tayo yung seller, ang gagawin natin, idadagdag naman natin dun sa kukolektahin natin from the buyer yung shipping fee na binayaran natin o yung freight o yung logistics cost na binayaran natin. Kasi hindi naman tayo dapat ang nagbabayad nun. Okay? Sige. Question so far? Question so far? Wala. Okay, good. Kasi familiar na kayo dito, I think eh. Hindi na kayo naninibago dito kasi this is something na I think na-discuss nyo na before or natutukan na natin sa CFAS before. Now, maritime shipping terms. So itong mga maritime shipping terms na to, ito ay applicable dun sa mga produkto o raw materials na kinukuha natin sa ibang bansa. So di ba pagka kumuha kunyari sa China, pag kumuha ka sa China, kunyari malalaking bultuhan ng mga raw materials, ang gagawin ng kumpanya dun sa China, dadalhin yung raw materials sa pinakamalapit na loading dock. Ibig sabihin ng loading dock, yung pwedeng makalapit yung barko. Diba? So sa dagat to, sa karagatan to. So dadalhin from land, from the company, dadalhin sa pinakamalapit na loading dock, and then yung barkong magkakarga, dun yan paparada sa mismong loading dock, isasakay dun yung raw materials, tapos itatakbo sa dagat, dadalhin dito sa Pilipinas, hanggang ma-unload dito sa Pilipinas at makarating dun sa company na bumili or nag-import ng raw materials. So ano mga terms dito sa maritime shipping terms? Meron tayong tinatawag na FAS or free alongside. A seller who ships FAS must bear all expenses and risk involved in delivering the goods to the dock next to or alongside the vessel on which the goods are to be shipped. So from China, from mainland China, say for example, China, sa city mismo. So yung pag sinabi nating FAS or free alongside, yung kumpanya na pinagbilan natin from China, they will deliver it to the nearest loading dock. So idadali nila yan parang doon sa mga pantalan, okay? Yung pwedeng makadikit yung barko na pagkakargahan ng raw materials na yon. So pag FAS ang term natin, okay, so libre pa mula doon sa company sa China hanggang loading dock. Okay, at pagdating po sa loading dock, ikakarga na yan dun sa barko na maghahatid dito sa Pilipinas. So pagka FAS, the ownership of the goods, the ownership of the inventory will be transferred to the buyer upon receipt from the loading dock in China. Diba? So kapag natanggap na natin sa China yan, atin na yan. Okay, habang tumatakbo na yan sa barko sa karagatan, sa atin na yan. Okay, pagka FAS ang term. Okay, so kaya nga pagka yan ay lumubog o kaya nagkaroon ng problema while traveling from China to the Philippines, tayo na ang mananagot doon. Tayo na ang mag-shoulder doon. Kaya nga yung iba ang ginagawa para naman ma-lessen itong risk na to, ma-reduce yung risk. So ang ginagawa nila, kumukuha sila ng insurance. So ina-apply for an insurance coverage yung laman ng barko. Para pagka lumubog yan, meron silang pagkukuhanan, insurance company. How about CIF or cost insurance and freight? Under this shipping contract, the buyer agrees to pay in lump sum the cost of goods, insurance, and freight charges. The shipping contract may be modified as CF only, meaning cost and freight, which means that the buyer agrees to pay in a lump sum the cost of the goods and the freight charge only. So in either case, the seller must pay for the cost of loading. Thus, title and risk of loss shall pass to the buyer upon delivery of the goods to the carrier. Okay? Now, how about ex-ship naman? A seller who delivers the goods ex-ship bears all the expenses and risk of loss until the goods are unloaded, at which time title and risk of loss shall pass to the buyer. Mas maganda yung ex-ship. Kasi yung ex-ship from China, okay, that is still the property, the asset of the seller. Pag isinakay yan sa bangka or sa barko, kanila pa rin yan. While traveling, going to the Philippines, inventory pa rin yan ng seller. Nata-transfer lang yung title at the time it is delivered to us, to our warehouse mismo. So doon lang napupunta yung title sa atin. So mas maganda kung ex-ship. But definitely, pag ex-ship yan, we need to pay more kasi kailangan nating bayaran yung risk, kailangan nating bayaran yung freight, kailangan nating bayaran lahat ng logistics para makarating yan next to our door. Ang kagandahan, ang advantage niyan sa atin, kapag nagkaroon ng damage yung property o nagkaroon ng damage yung inventory, we can refuse to accept, or kung hindi man natin ma-refuse, kung hindi man natin matanggihan na matanggap yung inventory, we can ask for a discount pagka po dumating na sa atin. Okay? Sige. How about accounting for inventory? Two systems are offered in accounting for inventory, namely periodic system and perpetual system. The periodic system calls for the physical counting of goods on hand at the end of the accounting period to determine quantities. So the quantities are then multiplied by the corresponding unit cost to get the ending inventory value. The periodic system yields actual or physical inventory. Okay, so periodic, pag sinabing periodic, ginagamit po itong periodic to those items which are small in value. So mura lang kasi yung puhunan o mura lang kasi yung cost ng bawat isa, kaya pwede ng periodic system. Ibig sabihin, may mawala na isa, may mawala na dalawa, immaterial na yung amount kasi nga mura lang naman. Say for example, you're talking about candies, you're talking about junk foods. Okay, you're talking about, sabihin na natin mga bottles of soft drinks, mga ganyan, or yung mga C2. So kung periodic ang ginagawa mo, again, bibili ka ng bibili, so isasam mo lang, ito-total mo lang lahat ng nabili mo. Okay, I was able to buy 1,000 pieces of candies, something like that. And then at the end of the accounting period, pag periodic ang ginagamit mo, tawag dito, bibilangin mo lang ilan lahat yung candies. Okay, so kunyari 1,000, mayroon natirang 100 na candies. So what is the assumption? The 900 candies are sold and the 100 candies remains in your inventory. So ganun lang pag periodic. So madali lang, pagka yung 900, i-multiply mo lang ng cost per unit. Okay, so that will be your cost of goods sold. Yung 100 na natira, i-multiply mo lang ng cost, that will be your ending inventory. Okay, now, the question is, ano kaya yung magiging cost ng inventory na yon? So nakadepende na po yon whether you are using FIFO or weighted average. So that will be discussed in the next or in the succeeding chapters. Okay, so yun. How about perpetual system naman? Perpetual system requires the maintenance of records called stock cards that usually offer a running summary of the inventory inflow and outflow. Inventory increases and decreases are reflected in the stock cards, and the resulting balance represents the inventory. The perpetual system yields book or perpetual inventories. Okay, so ang perpetual inventory po ay ginagamit kapag yung mga inventories ay high value. Ibig sabihin, mamahalin yung mga inventories. Konti lang yung quantity, pero masyadong mataas, masyado siyang precious yung amount, masyadong mataas yung presyo. Kaya dapat at any given point in time, you know how much inventories are left and how much is the value of your inventory on hand pag naka-perpetual ka. Okay, no, nakalagay dyan. Consequently, the entity would be able to know the inventory on hand at a particular moment in time. Dahil nga mahal yung inventory, dapat ikaw na may-ari at any given time, alam mo, ilan pa ba yung inventories dyan? May 10 pa akong inventories dyan. That 10 inventories cost me 100 million. Yung mga ganun. Okay, so malalaman mo lang yan kapag gumagamit ka ng perpetual inventory system. Pag periodic kasi hindi mo malalaman kasi kailangan mo pang bilangin. And anyway, periodic is not applicable here kasi nga ang periodic, ito yung many items pero small in value. Okay, good. Periodic system. So let's apply periodic system. Journal entries here. Number 1. Purchase of merchandise on account, 300,000. Debit purchases, credit accounts payable, 300. Payment of freight on the purchase, 20,000. Debit freight in, credit cash, 20,000. Return of merchandise purchased to suppliers, so sinoli natin. So babawasan natin ang accounts payable. And then we recognize purchase return. Actually, yung purchase return, isipin mo na lang parang kinredit mo na rin yung purchases. Kasi yung purchase return dito will be deducted from the purchases. So, inopen lang yung account na purchase return instead of crediting it directly to purchases. Number 4, sale of merchandise on account, 400,000 at 40% gross profit. So, debit accounts receivable, credit sales, 400,000. What have you noticed? Hindi nag-recognize ng cost of goods sold. Kasi nga ang cost of goods sold will be recognized at the end of the year upon counting of the inventories or the remaining inventories. Number 5, return of merchandise sold from customers. So may isinoli yung customer. So this is the opposite of purchase return. So instead of debiting sales, they open a new account, sales return, and then credit accounts receivable, 25,000. So ito na. Adjustments of ending inventory, 65,000. So, paano nakuha yung 65,000 na yan, guys? So, ang assumption, binilang nila yung inventories at the end of the year and they valued it at 65,000. So, sa madaling salita, ang natira na lang na inventories ay nagkakahalaga ng 65,000. Kaya they debited merchandise inventory at the end, 65,000, and credit income summary, 65,000. Okay, ngayon, guys, ang tanong dito, magkano kaya ang cost of goods sold nung nabenta? Okay, anyone who can determine magkano ang naging cost of goods sold nung nabenta dyan? Diba, meron tayong purchases na 300, meron tayong freight na 20, so 320. We're able to return 30,000 worth of purchases, so meaning 290 na lang. And then may sinoli pa na 25, may sinoling 25 sa atin, yung naibenta natin, may sinoling 25, so we add back again that 25 to our inventory. So meaning ang ating goods available for sale ay 315. And then they counted only 65,000 of ending inventory. So meaning to say, they're able to sell 250,000 worth of inventories. So yan ang magiging cost mo, yung 250,000. Okay? Sige. How about perpetual system naman? If you're using a perpetual system, so dito sa perpetual system, debit merchandise inventory, credit accounts payable. What have you noticed? Gumamit ng ibang account, merchandise inventory ang ginamit na account. Payment for freight on the purchase, debit merchandise inventory, credit cash, 20,000. And then when they return the merchandise purchased to supplier, debit accounts payable, and then they credit outright merchandise inventory. So number 4, sale of merchandise, 400,000 at a gross profit of 40%. The cost of merchandise sold is 60% or 240. So what have you noticed? After recording the sales via debit accounts receivable, credit sales, they right away recorded the cost. Kasi nga, di ba, pag perpetual system, gusto nila na-update nila every time yung inventory account. So kapag merong pumapasok, pag merong binibili, may lumalabas, automatic ina-update agad nila yung merchandise inventory account. Kaya nga 'di ba sabi natin at any given time, they want to know. Okay, if they want to know the amount of inventory remaining, they can just look at the stock card, makikita na nila agad 'yan. Kasi every time may movement ang inventory, nagagalaw yung merchandise inventory account. Number 5, return of merchandise sold from customer. Nagsoli ng halagang 25,000. So, dinebit ang sales return, credit accounts receivable. And then dahil nagsole, nasama na naman sa inventory yan, dinebit ang merchandise inventory at binawasan ang cost of goods sold, 15,000. The cost of goods sold is 60% daw, sabi. The cost of the merchandise return is 60%. So pag perpetual ang pinag-uusapan natin, ang assumption natin at the end of the year, wala na dapat sanang adjustment na mangyayari. Kasi nga po, di ba, dahil nga ina-update mo naman yung inventory account mo every time merong in, merong out, so dapat wala ka ng adjustments at the end. So nagkakaroon ka na lang po ng adjustments sa inventory kapag merong shortage o kaya kapag merong overage. So kapag merong kulang, may nawala, ayun, mag-a-adjust ka. So yung kulang, yung nawala, i-expense mo yon. O kaya naman, kung yan ay may kumuha, edi i-charge mo sa accounts receivable. Alam nyo, very common yung mga shortage na yan, hindi nawawala. Kadalasan nagsishrink. Ibig sabihin nung nagsishrink, kunyari yelo, nalulusaw. Meron kasing mga raw materials na by its very nature, inherent na sa kanila, lumiliit. Diba? O kaya nababawasan yung timbang. Ako, very common when I am still working sa isang manufacturing company. Pag bumili kami ng 1,000 kilos na raw materials, dadating sa amin 1,000. Pag nilagay namin sa warehouse, nagiging 998 na lang. Yung 2 kilo, hindi siya nawala. Okay, actually yung 2 kilo is a normal shrinkage. Kumbaga, natural dun sa raw materials, inherent na sa kanya na nababawasan yung timbang niya kapag nai-store siya. So walang pinag-iba sa yelo, di ba? Pag bumili ka ng yelo sa umaga, marami yung yelo. Pag hindi mo ginalaw yan sa hapon, by its very nature, matutunaw yan. So nababawasan din yan. So that is a normal shortage. So ganoon din sa inventory kapag sa perpetual, kapag meron ganyang mga normal shortages, that will be accounted for by an adjustment. So binabawas mo din yan sa cost ng inventory. Okay, next. How about trade discounts and cash discounts? Trade discounts are deduction from the list or catalog price in order to arrive at the invoice price, which is the amount actually charged to the buyer. Thus, trade discounts are not recorded. So the purpose of trade discount is to encourage trading or increase sales. Alam nyo yung salitang trade discount, that is applicable pag sinasabi nating wholesale. Diba? Bumibili ka wholesale o you're buying bulk. Diba? Maramihan. So, to encourage the buyer na bumili ka, damihan mo na yung bili mo, nagbibigay sila ng mga tinatawag na trade discount. Okay? So, kaysa naman bilhin mo siya ng tingi-tingi o retail, mas mataas yung presyo, bilhin mo na lang ng bultuhan, sako-sako, kahon-kahon, di ba? Ganyan. Okay? O kaya pwede isang container yung bilhin mo na raw materials. Pwede rin naman. Okay? So, trade discounts also suggest to the buyer that the price at which the goods may be resold. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kunyari, 100, yung tinatawag nating retail price. Okay? Dahil bibilin mo siya ng bultuhan, may trade discount, binigay lang sa'yo ng 80 pesos. So, that will suggest to you, that is an information to you, 80 pesos ko lang siyang nabili. Pagka pala ititingi-tingi ko siya o ibebenta ko siya retail, I can sell this inventory at 100 pesos. Okay, so yun ang ibig sabihin ng trade discount or volume discount. Okay, trade discounts are not recorded. Okay, it is not recorded. It is automatically deducted from the selling price. Okay, but on the other hand naman, cash discounts are deductions from the invoice price when payment is made within the discount period. The purpose of the cash discount is to encourage prompt payment. Okay, so cash discount, ito yung nakikita ninyong 210 and 30. Diba? So pag nagbayad ka ng cash, may bawas pa. Pag hindi mo binayaran ng cash, mas mataas yung ibabayad mo. di ba sabi natin, naalala natin sa huling discussion natin, pag merong mga discount na ganito, it is always considered, di ba? A wise management would always take all available cash discounts, sila sabi natin. So cash discounts are recorded as purchase discount by the buyer and sales discount by the seller. Purchase discount is deducted from purchases to arrive at the net purchases, and sales discount is deducted from sales to arrive at the net sales revenue. Okay? For example, the list price of the merchandise purchase is 500,000. Retail yan, retail, 500. May trade discount, less 20 and 10%. Tapos meron pang cash discount na 5% if you will pay within 10 days. But you are required to pay within 30 days. So this means that the trade discounts are 20% and 10%, and the cash discount is 5% if payment is made in 10 days. So look at the computation. Ako, sinashortcut ko na to eh. 500 multiplied by 0.8. Ganun na ginagawa ko dyan. So 400 yon. And then multiplied by 0.9, 360. Sa nanggaling yung 0.8, 100 less 20. Sa naman galing yung 0.9, 100 less 10. So lumalabas, ang invoice price na lang natin is 360. So meaning you're able to save 140,000 because of the trade discount. And again, the trade discount of 140 is not recorded. So 360 na tayo magsisimula. And then less the cash discount of 18,000, which is 5% of 360. Take note that the 5% is multiplied to 360 and not to the 500 list price. So the payment within the discount period is 342,000. Okay, ayan. So what are the methods of recording purchases? So we have gross method and net method. So purchases and accounts payable are recorded at gross amount. So kung gross method. Purchases and accounts payable are recorded at net amount if that is a net method. Okay, so gross method, purchases, bumili daw on account, 200,000, 210 and 30. Debit purchases, 200,000. Credit accounts payable, 200,000. Assume the payment is within the discount period. So debit accounts payable, so merong 2% discount, which is 4,000 pesos. So ang ibabayad na lang ay 196,000. Credit purchase discount, 4,000. Assume the payment naman is made beyond the discount period. Pag beyond the discount period, look at the entry. Debit accounts payable, since no more discount, ang ibabayad mong cash ay 200,000. Now, looking at the net method, okay, purchases on account, 200,000, 210 and 30. So purchases, what have you noticed? It is already debited at net amount, 196 na, binawas na agad yung 4,000 na discount. If that is paid within the discount period, so debit accounts payable, credit cash, 196,000. But if the payment is made beyond the discount period, so debit accounts payable, debit PDL or purchase discount loss, 4,000, and credit cash, 200,000. So assume it is the end of the reporting period, no payment is made, and the discount period has expired. So pag nawala na daw yung discount, so you will debit purchase discount loss, and then you will reduce your accounts payable by 4,000 so that it will be 196 na lang. Okay, now, siguro nagtataka kayo, sir, may gross method. Ano ba talaga ang sinusunod? Gross method or net method? So let's provide a rule here. Ang logical po talaga ay nakalagay, theoretically correct, is the net method. We always follow the net method. That is because, again, simply because, sabi nga ni Valix, di ba? You need to get all available discounts. So kung hindi mo nakuha yung discount na yon, walang kinalaman dapat yung inventory doon, di ba? So kung hindi mo na-avail yung discount, probably dahil wala kang pera, hindi dapat mag-suffer yung cost ng inventory. So dapat, it will be treated as an additional expenses on the part of the company. ano yun, parang operating expenses ang mangyayari doon sa nawalang discount. But not to suffer the amount or the cost of your inventory. Kaya nga, always record your inventory at net amount. Yun ang logical way. Actually, yun din po ang sinasuggest following the matching principle. Kasi di ba sa matching principle, pag naka-gross method ka, hindi nababawas agad yung discount until you learn na hindi pala i-avail yung discount eh. Pero sa net method, sa initial recording pa lang, it is already deducted na agad yung amount ng discount. So mas mainam, matching principle na susunod din kapag net method. So net method ang sinusunod po natin, hindi po yung gross method. So cost of inventory, the cost of inventory shall comprise cost of purchase, cost of conversion, and directly attributable costs incurred in bringing the inventory to the present location and condition. So cost of purchase, pag binili mo ang inventory, purchase price, plus imports duty, irrevocable taxes, freight, handling, and other costs directly attributable to the acquisition. Alam nyo na to. Okay, alam nyo na to. Trade discounts, rebates, and other similar items are deducted, malinaw, are deducted in determining the cost of the purchase. Okay, so kasama na dyan yung mga discounts. The cost of purchase shall not include foreign exchange differences which arise directly from the acquisition of inventory involving a foreign currency. So yung mga tinatawag nating foreign currency losses are not included anymore in the cost of purchase. Okay, so yan. Meron kasi mga foreign exchange differences. Ano ibig sabihin ng mga foreign exchange differences? Kunyari, binili mo ngayon, imported. Ang dollar ngayon ay 50 pesos, parang ganun. And then, binayaran mo bukas o binayaran mo sa isang araw. Ang nangyari, yung dollar, biglang naging 52 or biglang naging 55. So, merong loss ka agad na 5 pesos kasi mas malaki na yung binayaran mo. So, that is not part of the cost of the purchase. Yun ay tinatawag na foreign exchange losses na agad. Cost of conversion naman includes costs directly related to the units of production such as direct labor. So the cost of conversion also includes systematic allocation of fixed and variable production overhead incurred in converting materials into finished goods. So pag sinabi natin conversion cost, alam kong nadaanan na sa cost accounting to. Ang conversion cost is direct labor and factory overhead. Okay, so ang factory overhead nga natin, di ba? Ano mga example ng factory overhead? We have indirect labor, di ba? Depreciation of the equipment used to manufacture the product. Okay, and cost of factory management administration, yung mga sahod ng mga supervisor ng factory. Okay, pero yung mga sahod ng administrative personnel like accounting, HR, credit and collection, so those are general and administrative expenses. Okay? Directly attributable cost is the cost incurred in bringing the inventory to the present location and condition intended for sale. For example, it may be appropriate to include the cost of designing product for specific customers in the cost of inventory. Diba minsan may mga customer na nagre-request na okay, gusto ko ganito yung product, gusto ko ganito yung packaging. So the usual packaging is 1 kilo. And then nag-request yung customer, gusto ko naka half kilo yung packaging. Pwede naman. So the cost of packaging, the cost of the labor will be added to the cost of the product that you will sold, especially to a specific customer. Okay, abnormal amount of wasted material, storage costs, administrative overhead, and distribution or selling costs are recognized as expense when incurred. However, storage costs related to goods in process or part finished goods should be included in the cost of inventory. I can still remember I included this in your exam. Okay, inventory cost of part finished goods. So work in process, may mga natapos na, so nilagay sa storage, so that is still part of the cost of inventory. Okay? Cost of inventory of a service provider naman. The cost of inventory of a service provider comprises primarily of labor and overhead only. So wala silang direct material since that is a service-oriented business. Question so far before we proceed with the problems? Wala. Yes. Medyo madali yung topic no? Kayang-kaya. Maliit na bagay lang. Sana sa Saturday, pero tingin ko pwede nang mag face-to-face on Saturday. So chapter number 17 tayo sa Saturday, ha? So doon ay medyo magre-recitation na tayo. Magre-recitation na kayo ng bahagya, ha? So ganun lang gagawin natin. Pagka po medyo mahirap yung topic, face-to-face. Pag nag-online, marami pa tayo naka-ready na pwede sa online. Madadali lang yung receivable. Madadali lang yung ibang topic na inventories. Kayang-kaya natin online. Hindi kayo mahihirapan. Pero pag nasa bank recon, proof of cash, investment, face-to-face kailangan natin dyan. Ha? Ayan. 10-1, 3 cat, 2 apple. 3 cat, 2 apple. Number 2, cat, apple, apple, dog, boy. Reading ko. Number 2. Cat, apple, apple, dog, boy. Okay, so dito pala, ang sinolve ko lang ay lahat lang ng odd numbers. Hindi ko na sinolve lahat. So dito, number 7, ang tinatanong ay inventory. So, yes or no lang tayo dito. Items counted in the bodega, nabilang, 4 million, yes. Items included in the count is specifically segregated per sales contract. Nabilang pa pero dapat hindi na kasi naibenta na to eh. Meron ng sales contract dito, yun ang ibig sabihin. Siguro nabenta na pero hindi pa kinukuha ng customer. So bawas yung 100,000. Items in the receiving department returned by customer in good condition, 50, yes. Okay, ibig sabihin sinoli ng customer, okay pa naman. Yes, kasama. Kung hindi na okay, hindi na isasama kasi di ba ang valuation natin ng inventory ay lower of cost or net realizable value. So kung hindi na good condition, definitely the net realizable value is lower compared to its cost. So yes, yung 50. Items ordered and in the receiving department, invoice not received. Okay, and then items ordered and in the receiving department already. So the invoice is not yet received, but we received the item. So yes, kasama. Items ordered, invoice received, but the goods not received. FOB destination. Nauna pang natanggap yung resibo pero yung goods ay hindi pa. Pero look at the term, FOB destination. Tayo ang buyer. So while in transit, hindi pa yan sa atin. So hindi kasama yung 300. Item shipped today, invoice mailed, FOB shipping point. So shipping point, ang may-ari na niyan ay buyer na. Tayo ang seller dito eh. Sa punto na to. So si buyer na may-ari, 250, hindi kasama. Item shipped today, invoice mailed, FOB destination. So ang term ay FOB destination. So atin pa yan. So add 150. Tayo ang seller kasi eh. Items currently being used for window display. Ito yung mga naka-display na inventory. Yes, 200 kasama. Items on counter for sale, 800. Yes, kasama. Items in the receiving department refused because of damage. So, tayo yung bumili dito. Hindi natin matanggap kasi damage yung inventory. So, hindi yan kasama. Okay, hindi yan kasama. Items included in count, damage and unsaleable. So, nabilang pero hindi na pala maibebenta. Damage na daw and unsaleable. So, ibabawas yung 50 kasi kasama sa count eh. And then, items in the shipping department. So, atin pa yan, 250,000. Okay? So, the answer is letter Apple, 5.7 million. 5.7 million. Number 8, the answer is Apple. Number 9, tinatanong ay cost of purchase. 5 million, yes. Trade discount on purchases already deducted. Na, ibawas na pala. So, okay lang. Wala ka nang gagawin sa 500 kasi dapat naman talagang ibawas. Import duties, yes. Freight And insurance on purchases, yes. Other handling costs relating to imports, yes. Brokerage commission paid to agents for arranging the imports, yes. Ito yung mga directly attributable costs. Salaries of accounting, no. Sales commission paid to sales agent, no. After sales warranty cost, 250, no. So the answer is letter CAT, 6.7 million. Number 10, dog. 11. Tinatanong ay inventory. Hero Company reported inventory on December 31, 2024 at 6 million based on physical count. Okay, and take note, before any necessary year-end adjustment. So 6 million ang nabilang, hindi na consider itong dalawang bullet na to. Okay. Number 1, included in the physical count were goods billed to customer, FOB shipping point, on December 31, 2024. Okay, nabilang pa daw. These goods had a cost of 125 and were picked up by the carrier on January 10, 2025. So ang tanong, sa atin pa ba yan dapat? Look at the terms, FOB shipping point. Okay, sa buyer na. Di ba pagka FOB shipping point, nagkakaroon lang ng transfer of title kapag na-pick up na, kapag nakuha na ng customer. Ang problema, nakuha ng customer January 10 pa. So, ibig sabihin, na-transfer yung title sa kanila January 10 pa. So, atin pa yung goods na yan, yung 125,000. Okay, kahit na yung terms ay FOB shipping point, hindi pa naman na-ship eh. Nasa atin pa din naman ang December 31. Kaya yung 125, dapat kasama. Sir, kasama naman eh. Kaya okay lang, wala ka magiging adjustment doon sa first bullet. Okay, so as is lang yun. Next. Goods ship FOB shipping point on December 28 from a vendor to Hero. Tayo ang buyer dito. Tayo ang bumili. Were received on January 4. Shipping point na i-shift na nung December 28. So naglalakbay na. So tayo ang buyer. Ang terms ay shipping point. So atin na yan. Nasama kaya sa bilang? Definitely hindi. Kasi na-receive daw natin January 4 lang eh. So idagdag natin yung 300,000. So the answer is letter dog. 6.3 million. Number 12, cat. Number 13. Dapat sa akin yung mahaba. Okay, inventory. Tinatanong inventory. Joy Company conducted physical count. Ang nabilang niya ay 4,410,000. So the following items were excluded. Hindi daw kasama lahat ito. Yung itong 5 bullet na to hindi kasama. 4,410 hindi kasama to. So i-analyze natin. Talaga bang hindi kasama? So pag hindi nasama, okay lang. Okay, pero pag kailangan isama, i-add natin. Okay, merchandise 610 is held by Joy Company on consignment. So tandaan, si Joy dito, tayo ba ang consignor or consignee? So dito po sa 610,000, si Joy ang consignee. Ibig sabihin, tayo lang yung nagbebenta or ipinabebenta lang sa atin. So hindi atin yung 610 sa madaling salita. Excluded naman sir eh. Okay lang, so wala kang gagawin doon sa 610,000. Merchandise costing 380 was shipped by Joy FOB destination to a customer on December 31, 2024. Terms, FOB destination, sino pang may-ari? Si Joy pa. Kaya habang naglalakbay, si Joy pa ang may-ari niyan. Excluded daw to. Idadagdag ko yung 380. So I will add 380. Merchandise costing 460 was shipped by Joy FOB shipping point to a customer on December 28 ba yan? 29 or 20? Malabo yung sulat sa akin. 29 siguro. Okay. The customer was expected to receive the goods on January 10. Ano ba terms? FOB shipping point. So, hindi na atin yan. Wala na tayong pakialam dyan. Okay. So, hindi na po sa atin yan. Eh, hindi naman nasama si Res. Okay lang. Wala kang gagawin doon sa 460. Next. Merchandise costing 830 shipped by a vendor, FOB destination, was received by Joy Company on January 15. So, tayo ang buyer. Ang terms ay FOB destination. So, pag FOB destination, kay seller pa yan. Kay seller pa yan. Magiging atin lang yan ng January 15 upon receipt. Excluded, sir. So, okay lang yung 830. Wala kang gagawin sa 830. Hindi naman talaga nasama. Merchandise costing 510, purchase FOB shipping point, was shipped by the supplier on December 31 and received by Joy on January 5. Ayan, okay? So, tayo na may-ari niyan, FOB shipping point eh. So, idadagdag natin yung 510. So, the answer is Apple. Actually, dalawa lang pala ang i-consider eh. 4,410 plus 380 yung second bullet. Saka yung 510 sa fifth bullet. So, the answer is letter Apple. So, ang rule dito, para wala tayong problema, sabihin mo sa boss mo, wag magbebenta ng December 28 o kaya wag magbebenta after December 20 para walang problema ang accountant. So, magbenta na lang hanggang December 20. I-deliver na rin hanggang December 20. Pagkatapos ng December 20, manahimik na. Magpahinga na lang. Okay? Yun ang rule dyan. Para wala na tayong ina-analyze pa na receive, transfer. Tama? Yan, sige. Agree sila. Agree. Okay? Sasakitin lang ulo natin ka-analyze eh. Saka yan. Masira pa sa daan yan. Maputukan pa yan ng New Year. Okay? Ayan na. So number 14, the answer is Apple. The answer is Apple, number 14. And number 15, the company counted and reported the ending inventory on December 31 at 2 million. None of the following items were included when the total amount of the ending inventory was computed. 2 milyon, hindi kasama itong mga ito. Tignan natin, analyze. Goods located in the entity's warehouse that are on consignment from another entity. O, tayo ang consignee, hindi tayo may-ari. Pinabebenta lang sa atin yung 150,000. Sir, hindi naman kasama. So, okay lang yung 150. Yan pa pala isang rule. Wag nang gawin yung consignment. Wag ka nang tumanggap ng pabenta. Wag ka nang magpabenta. Pwede naman tayo na lang yung magbenta. Okay? Napahirapan pa kayo eh. Yes? May nagtatanong ba?
Wala, sir. Pindot lang.
Sino yun? Si Olin. Okay. Goods sold and shipped FOB destination were in transit on December 31 and received by the customer January. Ayan na naman. Tayo nagbenta, destination, tayo may-ari niyan. Kailan na-receive ng customer? January pa. Sa January pa magiging, sa January pa matatransfer yung title kay buyer. So atin pa yan, hindi nasama. Add 200. Goods purchased and shipped FOB seller. Ano ibig sabihin ng FOB seller? Shipping point, di ba? Tama, FOB shipping point yan. We're in transit on December 31 and received January 2. Tayo ba bumili dito? Tayo bumili eh. Shipping point, atin na yan. Tama, atin na yan kasi tayo bumili. So add 300 kasi hindi nasama yung 300 eh. Add 300. Goods sold and shipped FOB shipping point were in transit on December 31 and received by customer January 2025. Tayo ang seller dito. So tayo ang seller, nagbenta tayo. Shipping point naman yung term eh. So kay buyer na yan. So, hindi na dapat kasama. Hindi nga nasama. So, okay lang yung 400. So, 2 million plus 200 plus 300. The answer is Apple, 2.5 million. Okay, letter A, 2.5. Okay, tapos na pala halos. 10-16, dog. 10-17. The company reported accounts payable on December 31, 2024 at 4,500,000 before year-end adjustment. Accounts payable ang pinag-uusapan dito. So, ang tinatanong ay accounts payable ng December 31. Okay, accounts payable ha? Sige. Okay, so on December 27, Black Company wrote and recorded checks to creditors totaling 2 million. Causing an overdraft of 500 in Black Company's bank account on December 31, 2024. The checks were mailed out on January 10, 2025. Bakit may nasamang check dito? Inventory pinag-uusapan natin, di ba? Ayan mo na. Okay, sige. May nasamang check. Logic ng ano to, discussion to ng cash eh. Ano tawag dito, guys? Undelivered check. Tama ba? This is the case of undelivered check. Kasi ginawa na natin yung check eh, pero hindi pa natin na-deliver hanggang January 10. So, undelivered check yan. Alam natin, pag merong undelivered check, di ba sabi natin, pagdating ng December 31, ibalik natin sa cash at ibalik natin sa accounts payable. So, meaning, yung buong 2 milyon, kailangan natin ibalik ulit sa payable. So, mawawala na rin yung, mawawala na rin yung overdraft na 500 dyan. Kasi aalisin, ibabalik mo na ulit sa cash, tapos isa-set up mo ulit yung liabilities na 2 million. Okay? So, dito, yung 2 million will be added. Okay, madadagdag yung 2 million sa payable natin. On December 28, Black Company purchased and received goods for 750,000, 210 and 30. Black Company records purchases and accounts payable at net amount. Ano ba terms? The invoice was recorded and paid January 5, 2025. Na-receive mo na kasi yung goods ng December 28. So meaning to say, may utang ka na. Kahit hindi mo pa nare-receive yan, yung invoice, na-receive mo naman na yung items nung December 28. So may utang ng 750. Wait, 750 multiplied by 98% pala to kasi may 2% discount. So 750 multiplied by 98%, 735,000 yon. 735, okay? So 2 million idadagdag, 735 idadagdag. Goods shipped FOB destination 510 and 30 on December 20, 2024 from a vendor to Black were received January 15. Ano ba terms? FOB destination. Tayo ba ang buyer? Yes, tayo ang buyer. Si Black ang buyer. So FOB destination kay seller pa yan. Magiging atin lang yan sa January 15 when we receive the item. Okay? Ayun siya. So wala kang gagawin doon sa third bullet kasi hindi naman siya nasama. Ayan na nakalagay before year-end adjustment. So the answer is letter cat, 7,235,000. Okay, 4.5 plus 2 million plus 735. Number 18, Apple. Number 19. The company reported accounts payable on December 31, 900 before any year-end adjustment na naman. So, tinatanong ay accounts payable ng December 31. So, 900 ang simula natin. Goods were in transit from a vendor to Ashwood. Ashwood yung company. The invoice cost was 50 and the goods were shipped FOB shipping point. Atin na to. Shipping point. December 29 shinip. Na-receive ng January 4. Atin yan, shipping point. So, add 50. Dagdag mo na rin sa payable. Ibig sabihin, ang entry mo dyan is debit, inventory, and credit accounts payable. Next bullet, goods shipped FOB shipping point from a vendor to Ashwood. Tayo ang bumili ulit. Shipping point, atin na to. Atin na to, okay? Problema, nawala siya in transit. So, even if nawala siya in transit, tayo na may-ari kasi shipping point eh. So, meron na rin tayong payable na 25,000. Eh, sir, magke-claim tayo from the common carrier. Magke-claim tayo sa tracking. Okay lang. So, yung claim natin sa tracking is a separate accounting. Importante, set up muna natin yung 25 na liability and then we set up accounts receivable of 25,000 from the common carrier. Okay? Ano na mangyayari dyan? And then, so add 25. Third bullet, goods shipped FOB destination from a vendor to Ashwood. Destination, hindi pa tayo may-ari. Destination eh. So, wala kang gagawin dyan sa 15,000. Ayan. So, the answer is letter dog, 975,000. Okay na. Any question? Tapos ko na yung chapter number 10. May tanong ba? So mamaya pong hapon at 4:30 in the afternoon, pakisabihan yung mga classmate ninyo that I have another session. The same discussion na diniscuss ko ngayon. Yun nga lang, via Zoom na yon, recorded na po yun. Okay? And then I will upload the video recording sa ating Google Drive. Okay? So,